Hello everybody and welcome to the Action Figuratorium. My name is Mark Major. I'm a real big toy collector here in Southeast Portland. And look at this, people. It's just like a real show. It's like watching a real show, isn't it? So one of the videos that I had made previously was me talking about the recent announcement of Diamond Distribution going bankrupt and what that would possibly mean for Diamond Select Toys. However, I have made a mistake, and I'm going to be the first person to come out and say I've made a mistake, and you're not going to get that kind of, admission from the likes of the Quartering or Clownfish TV. You see, I did not do my due diligence in researching these companies, right? And I just automatically assumed, like a lot of other people, that Diamond Select Toys was under the umbrella of Diamond Distribution. Well, it turns out that is not true. It turns out that these are two separate companies. They may have the same owners. They may have the exact same owners. We don't actually know, as I'm going to show you, but they are two separate companies, and both Diamond Distribution and Diamond Select Toys have filed bankruptcy, which means there's two bankruptcies out there, two bankruptcies out in the wild, and they're fighting for our love right now. So today, we're going to spend a little bit of time. I'm not going to unpack. We're going to start fresh. We're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to repack, and I'm going to bring everybody up to date on what's going on with these bankruptcies, and maybe we'll make a little bit of prediction along the way. And just kind of a spoiler alert for my own sort of, watching this going on, I'm going to say that neither of these companies is coming back. So everybody, come together, strap on the leather, and hold on tight. All right, let me bring up desktop view. Give me a second, people. I'm running the real show as fast as I can go. Okay, here we go. So a lot of the news I've been pulling is from icv2.com. I recommend, if you want to follow along on the story of Diamond Select Toys, which has brands such as Gentle Giant, Marvel Select, and of course my absolute favorite, Mini-Mates. Pulling for you, Mini-Mates. I'm pulling for you hard on this one. Trust me. I'm a real big fan, real big collector. I don't touch the Marvel Legends. I touch the Marvel Mini-Mates. That's my jam. So, we're going to look at a little bit of what is revealed about these companies first. This is from their article from the 14th of January, which is already about, 10 days ago. Penguin Random House is Diamond's largest unsecured creditor. At the bottom of this is what we're looking at here. They talk about who owns these companies. So, Diamond Comic Distributors, you can see me highlighting it here, is owned 99% by some company called SG Resource LLC. That's a private company. They're not a public company. We don't know who owns them. And 1% by Stephen Jeppy. Now, Stephen Jeppy is the guy who started Diamond Distribution and is thought to be the guy who runs it. And I think a lot of people thought that he was maybe the sole owner, and maybe he is. Maybe he owns SG Resource, which seems to be his initials, but maybe not. Maybe it's him and his wife. Maybe his dad owns a part of it. Maybe his brothers, or maybe sons, or maybe some rich guy in San Francisco or Seattle or LA, or maybe some private firm owns it. Who knows? He broke off a piece and he can sell that to whoever. So we don't actually know who owns this, who owns SG Resources, but we know that SG Resource owns Diamond Comic Distributors. Now, Diamond Select Toys, which is a different company. Diamond Select Toys and Collectibles is owned 99% by DST Investments. Sounds like just a shill company, right? And 1% by Stephen Jeppy, right? The same guy who also owns 1% of Diamond Comic Distributors. So, we don't know who owns DST Investments. It might be that Diamond Comic Distributors owns it, in which case that is owned by SG Resource, or maybe DST Investments is somebody completely different. This all matters because these are no longer, as far as I can tell, these are no longer one company with another company nestled underneath it like an umbrella type scenario. These are two separate companies with two separate sets of books, two separate sets of debt, and two separate sets of outcomes. Now, with the comic book distributors, okay, we're going to give a little bit of context. Some people out there are going to be quick to shout out the go woke, get broke meme, which, of course, is, for what we can tell, is true, right? But that's not why these guys filed for bankruptcy. You see, what they did was, when COVID hit, Diamond Distributors quit distributing comic books, even though DC Comics, Marvel Comics, and IDW said, no, we don't want to stop distributing. We want to keep distributing. What happened was DC had no choice but to find someone to distribute their books, and they came across Penguin Random House, okay? So Diamond had a monopoly, and they actually forced a competitor into existence. It's like coming from the head of Athena or something, right? A year later, Marvel jumps ship from Diamond and goes to Penguin. And then a year after that, IDW jumps ship and goes to Penguin. After that, Diamond did not have the same amount of business and income as they had before. And it was just a matter of time before they collapsed, which is what happened. So they have caused their own demise. Do not let these other channels tell you otherwise. That is the story. That is what happened. They brought this upon themselves, okay? Now, what is going on with Diamond Select Toys? Don't know, but if you were to go to this article from bleedingcool.com, they actually list here that the Diamond Select Toys and Collectibles has also declared bankruptcy. They list who some of the biggest debtors are, or creditors are, people that they owe money to. So Bandai, NEC, which I think was supposed to be NECA, Kin, don't know who that is, Todd McFarlane, Disney, and Hasbro, all major creditors. Remember, these guys, in addition to making their own toys that they sell, they distribute other people's toys, like they do a lot of Magic the Gathering. They distribute a lot of Pokemon. A lot of these collectibles, right, they pick up and put in their catalog, and this is how comic book stores are able to get the McFarlane statues, right? It's how people are able to get all these these comic stores, get these toys. They get them from Diamond Select, okay? They're a distributor in addition to a manufacturer. So they've been taking all these toys, selling them, and then not paying them back. Now, I do not know why, if these guys are running a tight ship, why they are bankrupt. I can see why the comic book distributor went bankrupt. Is it because, in fact, that Diamond Comic Distribution owns Diamond Select and was looting them to pay their bills, and they caused them to go bankrupt? I don't know. There's a lot that we don't know, so it's hard to say what's going to happen. However, if you're into following this day by day, there is a website called pacermonitor.com, and it is following the case specifically of Diamond Select Toys and Collectibles, and you can see what is going on with the case as each filing comes in. The last one was Tuesday, January 21st, notice of appearance and request for notice on behalf of NECA LLC. So everyone who is owed money is now coming forward to the courts and saying, I'm on the list, guys, here's what I'm owed. And what the courts are going to do, the bankruptcy courts are going to do, is they are going to try and get people their money as best they can by forcing Diamond Select Toys to sell off assets or somehow raise money. Now, you may have seen in the news that JP Morgan has thrown a bunch of cash at Diamond. It's possible that Diamond's going to use that money, pay off the creditors, come out of bankruptcy, be kind of a fresh company, right? And then they'll start making money again. They'll take that money and kind of like a loan, they'll pay back JP Morgan. If they can't pay back JP Morgan owns it, right? I'm going to say, however, this is the prediction part of the show, okay? I'm going to say that without having Marvel, DC, IDW, and probably a few others, I'm going to say that the chances of Diamond comic distribution going forward having any kind of significant business whatsoever is going to be extremely low. They can still exist, but they're probably going to have to get rid of the chief operating guy, right? They're going to have to get rid of Steve Geppi. He's going to have to go. And if this is a company that's come out of bankruptcy and they'd had a terrible brand to begin with, if you look up stories of comic book owners talking about their relationships with Diamond, it's not good. They are genuinely hated as a company because they had a monopoly and they were poorly run. They forced their customers to use some antiquated DOS software in order to, order. So why would you, with a different guy running the ship and a different, coming out of bankruptcy and different sort of, closing a bunch of warehouses and changing it, why would you keep the name? You would just make a new fresh company of fresh people. And so at that point, I don't really see this thing going out of Chapter 11. I see this thing going out of Chapter 7. Now, with Diamond Select, they actually have a lot of assets that are in demand, both their original toys and as well as their distribution network. There's a chance these guys could make it, but they're going to have to raise the money to pay off some creditors as best they can in order to come out of this. And in fact, if you go to this article on ICV2, it talks about Diamond Alliance sales on Fast Track More. And in this, they are talking about the deadlines for the completion of an auction for Alliance game distributors, Diamond comic distributors, and other assets in Diamond's Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So what is happening is that there is auctions already slated to happen. Okay, they must be, the bidding for assets must have been ordered by the court 45 days after they filed for bankruptcy, right? So these auctions will be coming up and we're going to monitor it on this channel. We're going to see what exactly they are auctioning off. Could they auction off Gentle Giant? Maybe. Could they auction off Marvel Select? Maybe. Could they auction off Minimates? Maybe. If these things are valuable and they can get money with it and they can use it to pay their creditors and come out of debt, come out of bankruptcy court, they're probably going to do it. Now, what if you are one of these creditors who's owed money? Say you're someone like Hasbro, who probably is owed millions of dollars at this point. Well, maybe Hasbro puts in a bid and of whatever X amount of money, millions of dollars, and they pay the money, and then the bankruptcy court takes that money and pays off the top people that are owed money, which might be Hasbro, in which case they get the money back. So you might see guys who are owed money, who are at the top, bidding for these things, knowing that the guys at the bottom are not going to get paid. If you're only owed like under $1 million and you're like, number 20 on the list of people to get paid back, you're not getting your money. They're not going to raise enough money to pay you back, okay? It's not happening. So in that case, you're going to see the guys who are owed the most money probably putting the bids because they know they're going to get that money back, and if they don't put in the bid, then they're probably not going to get anything. So this is a chance for some of these companies to get something. But it's going to be interesting to see. You're going to see a lot of sort of like people making moves. You're going to see a lot of like numbers thrown around. It's going to be kind of cool and weird. We're going to see a lot of like who owns what in the toy industry. We're going to see a lot of names come out. There's going to be a lot of reveals in this. It's going to be kind of a fun sort of a legal fight in some ways and a financial fight. And this is really going to shake up the industry for a bit. You're going to see a bunch of changes happening as a result of this. Now, I've done an article in the past called Prediction of the one of the major toy companies is going to collapse. And I predicted either Hasbro, Funko, or Super 7. I did not have Diamond Select on my bingo card, but maybe Diamond Select was the company, right, that is actually taking, because they owe all this debt to these other companies I mentioned. Maybe they were the guys who are going to be the people that collapse, and in that way, I guess I will have been proven right, although I couldn't see it. One of the companies that I mentioned, Hasbro, in 2023 posted a loss of $1.06 billion with a B, people, with a B. Billion dollars, that means they owed about $3 per share in 2023. They have since turned around. They have lowered their inventory. They've lowered their operating costs, meaning they fired a bunch of people. They're making less toys. They're licensing out their IPs instead of making the toys themselves. They are now up to $3 dividends, right, per share. They went from a negative $3 per share to a positive $3 per share. So it doesn't look like Hasbro is going to be the dog that goes out. In fact, Hasbro has said that they're getting out of making physical products and they're going to just become a licensing company. They said they're a game company first and that they're a digital company second. They're moving out of their headquarters, which means they don't need all those toy people around designing toys. Get rid of them. Don't want them. They're going to move to Boston, which is where there's going to be a bunch of law firms, because when you license IPs, it's just a bunch of legal work, okay? It's a couple sales guys making some cold calls and then all lawyers, and that to me is what Boston is all about. And this is what's happening with Hasbro, in which case they may not make as much money as they have in the past, but the risk goes down a lot. So that leaves a couple other companies on my bingo card, Funko and Super 7. How are those companies doing? Well, I checked out Funko. They're, some of you know that they just recently buried a whole bunch of product in the desert in a landfill a couple years ago, millions of dollars worth of product that they overproduced because at the end of the day, people said, I don't need another goddamn tchotchke. Right? Well, they're doing pretty good now. What about Super 7? Well, Super 7's still making toys, so maybe in fact Diamond Select is the dog that took everybody's hate and scorn, and they took all the debt, and now they're going to go die with it. And then are we going to see a return to Diamond Select? We could. It's going to be interesting, though. I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't really have a prediction on it, but I do say this. If you guys want to roast me in the comments over any of these predictions or things, it is welcome. I love hearing the roast. I love hearing people saying I'm wrong. I love people who also have leads. Maybe you know somebody who works at one of these companies. Maybe you've got some war stories going on. Maybe you found some articles that I missed. I miss things all the time, as I missed earlier in my previous video. And I think it's just fun to throw these things around. No one's ever upset. No one's ever like calling you out or anything like that, but you can call me out. You can go heavy on the roasting. I think it's a lot of fun. So I hope that this explanation of what's going on has helped. It's kind of helped me. Maybe it's helped you. And we're just going to monitor what goes on in the next 45 days or so with these auctions, and we're going to see what comes up for grabs. Who knows? Maybe we'll get something. Maybe we'll get a mug or a t-shirt or something. So with that, thanks everybody who made it this far into the video. You are appreciated. And of course, as always, folks, stay charged.